Rudania is a beast that means a lot to me. It's the beast I've spent the most time optimizing, running, and working on. When I started running it, the world record was at 420 flat. Today, my current sum of best is at a 258. Rudania deserves love. It's a beast that's often overlooked due to Yunobo and the boarding sequence. Rudania is the only beast that I would consider truly skill based. Nothing in Rudania is random. Fireblight doesn't have a random warp timer like Windblight, or a random opening attack like Thunderblight. There are no cycles that could kill a run just by being half a second too slow like in Ruta. No glitches that could go wrong. Nothing. Rudania is simple. Yet despite the apparent simplicity, Rudania is the single hardest beast to do well. Sub 310 is brutal. Getting a time that low is impressive by itself. As a result, I feel that a tutorial is necessary if I want more people to run it. I will discuss every strat for every terminal, as well as cover each of the 3 routes so there are options for routing at Rudania yourself to make things as easy to learn as possible. Starting with the metal doors that block T1. The metal doors in front of T1 are run killers. If they open too quickly, the run dies. Too slow, same thing. This isn't a problem with the old strat of using a bomb to destroy the board before using mag on the door. This is a very slow way of opening it. 3 seconds of menuing minimum, and even more time lost paired with failing to release the box in one shot. This is still the current strat in full game runs. It's 100% consistent and completely safe. This was also the strat used in the IL up until I introduced the double bomb arrow method. Double bomb arrow is exactly what the name implies, using 2 bomb arrows before T1. One to open the door and one to drop the box. This is faster than using the bomb method, so if you want to use the box to access T2, use this. The single bomb arrow method only exists because of the introduction of level 2 flamebreaker gear into the IL. You only have to shoot the door and nothing else. This is considerably faster, and it's the only way to get a low 6-second T1. T2 is an interesting terminal. It was originally the 4th terminal, and it's the only terminal where there are currently 3 strats in use at once. T2 initially used the box to stop the fire. It's slow, and the only strat that I don't really need to cover, as it's the way you reach it casually. Level 2 Flamebreaker was what actually broke Rudania wide open. It allowed for T2 to be done 2nd instead of 4th. Level 2 Flamebreaker gear just allows you to run through the fire to get T2. No fancy tricks. The most recent strat introduces the Ice or Blizzard Rod strat. This is probably the single dumbest strat purely because it doesn't seem like it should work. The ice produced from the rod actually cancels out the fire hitbox, meaning you can pass right through it damage-free. This is the trick that actually made Sub 3 possible. It is as important to Rudania's history as level 2 Flamebreaker gear is. For the ice rod, you'll have to hold the throw button, then release it before entering the quick menu. I suggest opening the shield menu as you can quickly try again without wasting time switching back to the ice rod. As soon as you're ready, switch weapons or shields before releasing the D-pad and performing a forward shield jump through the fire. Positioning is as important as being too far or too close means you'll fail the trick. All I can suggest is practicing the trick until you're consistent. The Blizzard Rod is an easier version of the Ice Rod strat, but it comes at the cost of not being viable for all full game runs. All you need to do is swing the rod and then perform a forward shield jump after the ice comes out. Positioning is also important here, but the cost of failure isn't as bad due to the lack of menuing. Rudania currently has 4 different torch shots, none of which are avoidable. 1 to access T2, 2 to access the map, and the ball shot. The T2 shot is quite simple. Light an arrow on this torch and run towards this door. Then fire an arrow towards the torch. A multi-shot bow makes this easier, but any bow works. The map shots are also fairly easy. Shot 1 just requires you to shoot here after lighting an arrow. The second shot is a bit trickier. You have to use a multi-shot bow for this. The position you need to shoot from changes depending on whether you're using a duplex bow or a 3 or 5 shot bow. If you use a duplex bow, shoot around here on the Guardian to kill it, and light the torch at the same time. If you use the Great Eagle bow or another multi-shot bow, shoot around here and you'll kill the Guardian and light the torch. You'll want to kill these eyes immediately after while also swapping to a single shot bow. The ball shot is fairly easy. After obtaining the map, run back to this torch and ignite an arrow. Then run until you can see this part of the spine and shoot as soon as possible. If you miss the shot, you will lose 8 seconds minimum. However, if the arrow drops back down, ignite another arrow on that arrow before it burns out. After igniting the ball torch, you have to wait half a second before tilting Rudania. This may seem random at first, but it's actually the only way to get a fast, yet still consistent, ball drop. If you need a visual cue, you can wait until the camera pans to about this point before opening the map. Ball manip extends to the ball pit as well. Once the ball falls, you'll want to tilt Rudania just as or just before the ball enters the activation point to open T4. The tilt before T4 can be done after the ball is active if you feel more comfortable doing it that way. Both will spend roughly the same amount of time in the menu, but tilting before the ball activates is slightly faster due to the speed at which Rudania tilts. The spine shot is necessary as it opens up T5 with no time loss. The ball still needs to roll down at this point, so missing a shot doesn't kill the run. Any more missed shots result in you losing time, as the ball will hit the block before you're done. Quick Gale is the only really difficult part of the run, as it's essentially frame perfect. Gale should activate the frame Rudania stops tilting, resulting in 0 time loss to the pre-Gale animation. After T4, you'll want to use a mix of running and walking to reach this point. Once you get here, jump and enter the Gale state. If you've timed it right, you'll Gale at the earliest possible moment. Once you're at the peak of the Gale, cancel glider and land on the spine. If you Gale too far away, just glide to spine and then cancel glider. If you aren't confident you'll get quick Gale, or you're doing a full game run on a good pace, you can just wait until Rudania stops tilting before activating it. Quick Gale is difficult, so it's okay if you don't use it. If you are short arrows, there are a few backup ones you can grab just before T3 and after map. If you shoot this Malice Eye, 2 chests will become accessible, both of which are breakable. Blights are an interesting challenge. You want a consistent method of killing them, but the fastest methods aren't always an option outside of an IL. The original method was to headshot Fireblight twice with an Ancient Arrow to quickly end Phase 1. Phase 2 then used a Bomb or Fury after the first Fireblight warp before shooting it with Ancient Arrows until it dies. This is consistent and is still a good backup in case you mess up one of the newer kills. Fast Blights is actually a trick that was first used in a Castle Any % IL. I actually rediscovered it completely independently with no knowledge of its use in the Castle IL. Fast Blights uses a multi-shot bow to deal enough damage in one chunk to skip the midpoint health check, killing it in one go. Depending on the Blight level as well as the Blight itself, the amount of shots needed will change. Both Fire and Thunderblight have a 2x headshot multiplier, so the number of shots are interchangeable between both. The same goes for Water and Wind Blight, except they have a 1.5x headshot multiplier. The number of shots vary depending on the multi-shot bow used, and if I covered every possible combination, I'd be here for several hours. Sigma Blights is a level 1 Blight kill only, and as such, I'll just briefly cover it. Sigma Blights use a multi-shot bow with Ancient Arrows equipped, as well as an Ancient Axe++. You just have to shoot the Blight, then throw the axe. Thunderblight requires you to break the shield first, but otherwise the kill is identical. Modified Sigma Blights is a variant of Sigma Blights that uses either one bow or 1 to 2 weapons. IST is required for the single bow or weapon kill. However, the 2 weapon kill just requires you to grind for a 56 damage Ancient Axe Plus and a 60 damage Ancient Axe Plus Plus. I will now be going over each of the 3 routes. The current and still used IL route, the Tapir route, and a route I've been working on. All 3 routes are within 1 to 3 seconds of each other, so it's up to you which one you want to choose. We will start with the current IL route. The current IL route goes from T1 to T2 to map to T3 to T4 to T5 to CT and Blight. This is the route I recommend as it's currently the only route where sub 3 is known to be a possibility. Start by shield surfing down the ramp and use any method to open the doors. Activate the terminal, then run to T2. Use any method to get past the flames, excluding the box. Activate T2, then run to the map terminal. After the map cutscenes, run and light the ball torch before tilting Rudania and activating T3. Run to the spine shot position and shoot the eye before releasing the ball. Drop down and tilt Rudania once the ball is activated. Activate T4, then Gale to spine. Run and activate T5 before dropping down to CT. From here, any quick kill will work against the Blight. The Tapir route is almost identical, but it does T2 before T1. Someone may find the Tapir route easier or more consistent, so I felt the need to at least bring it up. Start by shield surfing down the ramp, then shoot the metal doors with a bomb arrow. Swap to regular arrows, light an arrow, then shoot the torch to open up the T2 door. Once the door is open, run to the fire and pass through it using whichever method you prefer. Activate T2, then run out, open the first gate, run to T1 and activate it. From here, the route does not differ from the traditional IL route, so I will not be covering the rest of this run. The route I've been working on is considerably different. Slide down the ramp, but instead of activating T1, you'll be activating the map first. So open the gates, activate the map, then release the ball. Glide down and activate T3 before shooting the spine eye. Release the ball and activate T4. Tilt Rudania, then switch to bomb arrows to open T1. Switch back to normal arrows and open T2. Pass through the fire and activate T2. Run back out and activate T1. Run to this torch, then gale up. Activate T5, drop down to CT, and then kill the Blight. This is a slower route, however, only by about 2-3 seconds. If you want to run the IL but not at a top level, this is a good route to learn as it's far more consistent and much easier to learn compared to the traditional route. I don't know how to end this, so I'll just say this. If anything, I hope people are able to understand just how intricate and difficult to further optimize Rudania is, considering just how many options exist for routing. I also hope that this tutorial actually gets people using the IL route in full game runs. 16 seconds is a lot of time to just not cut for free because a route is called an IL route.